G'day fellas, and welcome to a casted game. Spawning in on the north side of the map, playing in the pink as the Chinese, we've got Louis MT. And on the south side of the map, playing as the French, in the color green, Thebis. Now, I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. I don't know whether it's Thebis. I don't know whether it's the Biz. But I'm going to assume it's Thebis, just because the B in bis isn't actually capitalized, and if it was going to be the biz, you know, if you're going to give someone the business, it'd probably be a Z, right? Well, I mean, technically it's like bussiness, but you guys know what I mean. It's probably not the biz. But anyway, we got a good matchup for you guys today. French, Chinese, a matchup that's quite difficult for China, something that I would typically consider to be one of their harder matchups. So if you think about Chinese matchups, typically the bad ones, Holy Roman Empire, not a good one. France, not a good one. And English, not really a good one either. Because even if you go to late game against the English, you're still going to have a very tough time against them. You're going to have to play very well to beat an English player as the Chinese. So this is a bit of an early game matchup here. And I think the question is, what is Louis going to be able to pull here to win this matchup? Because I think coming into a map like Prairie, which is the map that we're on here, there's a couple of options that he's got available to him. But the French player is in the driver's seat. We've seen an increasing number of French players on this map look to begin trading. And I wouldn't be surprised if Thebis starts thinking about it. The question is going to be whether he does that, and if he does it, how does Louis look to shut that down? Because it's going to be very tough, considering the fact that the investment for trade is very low, the return is very quick, and the defense from the French is very, very solid. A lot of veries in there, so I do apologize. Probably a bit too much alliteration. I remember reading a post, I think it was a post on Reddit. It's like, here's a cool guide. Stop saying very. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's just an emphasis word, right? Like, I mean, I could learn an extra 46 words, but would you guys know them? I also remember reading something that's like, if you're intelligent, you shouldn't be you shouldn't be flaunting it. Not necessarily flaunting it, but like, don't use big words, because not everybody understands big words. It can often be about like using small words to get the same point across. So maybe there's something to say about just an excessive use of the word very, because we all know what very means. And that's not saying like some people are stupid, some people are dumb, but you got to remember there are people here who don't have English as a first language, and whew, geez, when you see that and it comes from the side that you haven't explored, it always feels bad. I mean, he's still got some pretty decent sheep though, doesn't he, Thebis? So he'll be in a decent spot here, nonetheless. But yeah, I feel like maybe I could tone down the English a little bit, but never mind. We'll talk about it later. Because right now we can talk about the age up. Of course, it's going to be the School of Cavalry. I think even if you're going for trade, this is still probably something that you want to do. But it's looking like a pretty standard opening here for Thebis. The fact that he's going to be going for an early wheelbarrow. And I think even if you are going for trade, probably want to be looking for that early wheelbarrow. It does give you a little bit more utility for your vehicles, for your villages, probably for your vehicles as well if you have a wheelbarrow. It just gives you that extra movement speed. So, you know, if there's any raiding cavalry that attempt to come through, you can run that a little bit faster, might keep you alive for a bit longer. And of course, there's also the economic benefits for wood chopping mainly. That's pretty much it. On the other side of the map, though, we do see the Imperial Academy beginning to come up now for Louis MT. Now, for anybody wondering who Louis MT is a very solid player at the moment, currently sitting rank 5 on the ladder. Very, very good player. He's Chinese, I know that much, but they're pretty, I mean, I feel like the Eastern communities and Western communities in Age of Empires 4 are very far away from each other. Like, there doesn't seem to be a lot of, not necessarily cooperation, but there doesn't really seem to be much, there doesn't seem to be much cross. Well, I mean, people like to stick with people who speak the same language, right? Because it's about communication. But I guess the best part I can think of is probably like the tournament that happened, the big 3v3 tournament. We saw Louis MT's team do pretty damn well. I think he got up to the semi-finals. So he's a very solid team player, obviously a very good 1v1 player as well. But I'm curious to see exactly how he's going to be playing this, because we do see a village now coming down here. And he's going to be entering into this sort of phase, because right now, right, we know that Thebis is, well, he should be making a, he should be making a, okay, second town center. I was going to say, he should be making a knight, and I don't know why it's so hard for me to get that word out, but he's not making a knight. In fact, he's got, absolutely, he's got 6 vills. 5 vills on food here, 1 vill down here, 6 vills, not going to be enough to get that knight out. He could just cancel these 2 villages and get the knight out. But Thebis is also a good player. I think Conqueror 3. I'd have to double check. That might be Conqueror 2, but I'm pretty sure Conqueror 3. So pretty talented player as well in his own right. I think top 100, maybe top 200, somewhere around there. But he's a very decent player, but definitely going up against Louis, he's going to have a tough time. He does have the matchup advantage, and that's going to set it apart here. We do see a barracks response coming out now for Louis. A little bit delayed on that barracks, about 5 minutes. And ideally, it had the knight come out earlier here from Thebes, it would just be an absolutely perfect timing, because Louis decided he kind of greeted going for this village instead of dropping the barracks down. But he's going to pop the barracks down now. He'll get out a nice solid defense. We're right on board over on Thebes though, because he is going to be going for a second TC. And second TC is like so 2022, you know what I mean? Like 2023 is the year of trade. And a lot of people might be saying, no, Drongo, it's the year of the rooster. And I'll be like, well, look, mate, I don't want to talk about your cock right now. What I want to talk about is I want to talk about the year of trade, okay? That's what's important to me, because I think it's going to be a big year for trade. We've seen trade continue to evolve, continue to develop, but obviously it's not going to be the year of trade here for, or not going to be the match of trade, as Thebes is about to click up, or I say click up, about to drop that second town center down. We do see Vils now moving out towards the south side. He's got a nice little pocket back here. Got access to the boar. Only 3 deer, so it never feels that good, but he will secure a nice wood line and scout coming out. So Louis going to be spotting that and say, well, I know what you're up to, so I'm going to look to try and counter it. Over on the same side, Louis has gone for his own Barbican and will immediately look to take a second town center. So dropping down his own stone mine. How much wood has he got in the bank? 113 wood at the moment, not a huge amount. A lot of Vils on food, though, so could be thinking about going Castle Age as well. Normally when you have that higher number of Vils, though, you're thinking about either units or Castle Age. No real indication of Castle Age, and he does actually switch the Vils off food. So that is the correct decision. Now going to be looking to drop down that second TC super duper quickly. So good job to him. Down on the south side of the map, though. Horseman going to be coming out, though, for Thebes. Definitely not the knight that you're expecting. And I think this is kind of like, this is a pretty big disadvantage. Or not disadvantage, but I think a bit of a misplay by Thebes not to go for that early knight. The early knight just forces so much pressure. And obviously going up against someone like Louis, he's going to have the ability to deal with that pressure. But at the same time, you do force a response. But then by the same token, the response was already there because Louis is just that good of a player. He knows that a knight should be coming. So maybe there's a little bit of mind games coming out from Thebes here, deciding that, you know what, I don't actually need to go for the knight because I know that the knight is going to get shut down anyway. So I'm just going to cut out the middleman. I'll just go straight for the second town center. And speaking of, oh my lord, he gets a ring of rose. He takes the 1-for-1. That's actually a good trade there for Thebes. The fact that he shuts down the scout is going to force Louis to either make a stable to train that new scout, or he's going to have to train it from the town center, and you never want to have to do that as the Chinese. So very, very nice trade there from Thebes, even though the resource advantage would be in favor. But we do see double archery range going to be coming down now. Louis looking to put on the pressure. Don't be too afraid of something like this, and we could see Thebes actually falling back towards the town center now. But yeah, don't be too alarmed by this. A single villager comes out, repairs this as it's about to burn, and one archer will hold this off. So he's already, I mean, just in this, he's kind of already forced the response. But I think Thebes was probably already going to be considering adding in these archery ranges anyway. But we do see the villager now looking to move out. She's got a little repairing hammer in hand. Spearman going to be moving forward. He baits it back. Able to do a nice little jig around that corner, and he's just focusing on keeping those spearmen busy, and now the archers come out. And this is where it all gets shut down. He's going to have to fall back away from this position. You can see he's doing beautifully on the micro. Double archer now, and these spears are going to have to head on home. And indeed they do. Back towards Louis' base, so that second town center about to be dropped down. Oh my lord, I take that back. The third town center about to be dropped down. Louis MT, how can you be so greedy? How can you be so greedy on a map like this as well? And that's kind of the crazy thing for me, right? Like, this is a very open map, but I love the fact that he's just like, you know what? You take 2 TCs, I'm going to take 3. And I've got Song Dynasty, but look at this. How much stone have you taken off this? Wait, Thebes is on 850 stone? Thebes, you're not in Castle Age yet, mate. You're not dropping any keeps. What are you going to be doing with all this stone? Did Louis scout this and he's just like, oh, if you're going to go for 17 town centers, I'll go for 17 town centers. Louis may miss the read, though. So, gotta be careful. So, a little bit of a lull period here. I did not expect a 3 TC opening. This is very ballsy, especially against France, because France can kill you with a timing attack, and you're going to be pumping in so many villagers right now. It's a lot of food that you're going to be wasting. Not wasting, but, you know, spending on villagers. So it's quite a deficit that you go in before they actually pay themselves off. And you're going to need to transition into a farm transition very, very soon. And on a map like this, where wood is scarce, makes it very difficult to do. There's no easy way to do a farm transition on a map like this. And we do see the first knight of the game now coming out. Looks like it does get spotted by Louis. He's going to try and pull this bad boy back. I'd honestly be pulling the boar into it as well. Spearmen going to be making their way around. Looks like no boar going to be needed today. Barbican going to be helping out a little bit as well. And Spears almost making a connection, but it looks like Thebes is going to be able to run away from this one. And the scout actually goes down. Barbican going to be doing a decent job there. But now, the third town center getting thrown down for Thebes, and maybe that's just the read that Louis had. He's known all along that we'll be fine. Look how quick that outpost gets up. Good luck ever. Good luck ever beating that. That is just ludicrous how quickly that bad boy went up. And look at the amount of vills that he's got. He's got 30 vills here on food. He's going castle age. Look at that. That's actually a castle age. There's so few villagers here on wood. He's got to be going castle age, and that looks exactly like what he's doing. Everyone's rallied out to wood. Yeah, so this is a castle age play. I like this from Louis, but at the same time, I think this is just a perfect read on the situation. He must have scouted that this stone mine was still being gathered up. The stone was still being gathered, and he realized, okay, well, if you're going to go for 3 TCs, I might as well just go for 3 TCs right now as well. Village is actually being pulled. He manages to take one. Now, keep in mind, China, obviously, a little bit of an advantage when it comes to creating villages. I say a little bit. It's quite significant, Song Dynasty. Even though it's been nerfed, it's still pretty good. Now, if we compare the pair, Town Center number 1, 18 seconds on a villager for the French, 15 seconds for the Chinese. So they do create their villages much faster, but not a whole lot more than what they used to be. What am I trying to say? But the advantage isn't as big as it used to be. The difference between 13 and 15 seconds might not seem like a lot, but I can assure you it is huge. The difference at the 10-minute mark or 15-minute mark works out to be like, is it 15 villages? I think it's 15 villages. It's a lot of villages. Imperial Palace now going to be coming up as well for Louis. He's got to be careful on this backside. We do see more barracks coming up as well. So I'm going to be looking to probably play Palace Guard Spearman with Nest of Bees. And I think that's probably the best combo that he can look for here. The main thing that he's got to worry about is Knights. So by playing this composition, what he's doing is basically saying, I'm never going to lose to Knights. I'm always going to have enough Spears to deal with them. And that's a super smart move against a French player with a big economy, or at least that's going to have a big economy. But the age up comes through. Thebes is going to be thinking about aging up himself. We start to see upgrades coming through from him. Obviously, he's picked up that third TC, so his economy is absolutely pumping like crazy right now. But it's interesting to see how the meta evolves and gets more greedy, and it's all dependent on the French player and what their decision is. You know, if the French player says, well, I'm going to go for 2 TCs, China says, well, that's fine, you go for 2 TCs, I'll go for 2 TCs. And if France says, I'm going to go for 3, China says, that's fine, you go for 3 TCs, I'll go for 3 TCs. And that's where the problem happens, right? Because you're playing to the game of the Chinese player. And that you never want to be doing that. You don't want to be playing to someone else's strength. You want to be playing to your strengths. So what are your strengths as France? Number 1, your strength as French, Knights. Number 2, map control is another key factor here. And this is why I think we're going to see that continued evolution of the French to move into things like trade, because it just makes it so much more difficult to calculate where your position is when you've got that really heavy trade that you're up against. We do see, though, looks like Spearman and Palace Guard's going to be coming out. No Nest of Bees just yet. No, in fact, that was a pretty bad read by me, saying Nest of Bees when he's going for an Imperial Palace. So there might be a distinct lack of Nest of Bees coming out for the while. He's got 3 TC Song, so he's not going to need to be on Song for very long. He'll be able to switch it out. But we do see a little bit of trouble right now. This could be bad for Louis, as all of a sudden it looks like Thebes has just said, well, let's put the pedal to the metal and see what happens. And now Thebes, going to be looking solid. Going to be focusing down the middle. A little bit of a mistake. Could be coming in. Could be idling villagers here. This is an amazing force. And so basically these knights need to be running in underneath the town center, and then the archers need to be picking off the spearmen. And that's pretty much it. And you can almost... I mean, you can't really win the game because China's defense would be very strong. But, ooh, a ram. I don't know how I feel about a ram right now. You just want to get in there. You just got to start doing pressure. That's generally the best thing for you to do. We do see a lot of production coming down, though. So in addition to those 3 town centers, we also see double stable, double range. Obviously, we saw that double range earlier. And a bit of a farm transition coming in as well for Thebes. Up towards the north side. We still don't see Louis dropping down any farms just yet. He is completely living off the land right now. But he's giving his enemy time. And this is the concerning part for me, is that Thebes is giving Louis time to build up a force. And now that he's got, now that he's able to build up a force, it makes it very, very difficult for him to stop. Because he could have just kept funneling in units, kept funneling in knights, and he's going to just win the game eventually. But now pushing in towards the outpost. Over on the east side, we do see that there are more units looking to attack on the palisade walls. Knight's going to be rotating up towards the top side. There are villagers up there, but obviously when we look from Thebes' perspective, he's got no idea as to where they are. He can just suspect. There they are. They're going to be moving in. There's a 10 villager difference at the moment. Only 6 workers have gone down so far. But now we see that the real numbers... he manages to clean up too. It's not terrible. But he's got a decent spot. Not yet enough archers to one-shot the spearmen, and that always hurts. But the numbers here from the Knights are very, very solid. And I love the fact that he's coming over here and doing damage. I would love for him to link up with these two armies together, because this is a great reinforcement point. You can see that now the Knights trying their best to get some charges through on the other side. But look at the spearmen numbers. The consequence of those supervised barracks, just so they can pump out spearmen so quickly. And you can almost go 100% spearmen here and deal with this. But he's got palace guards mixed in. They're going to be able to clean that up completely. These Knights... Thebes just not being as active as he could be. Well, obviously, we know about the berries up towards the north. He should know where they are, though. And you just want to be leading your enemy on a wild goose chase as much as you possibly can through their base. And we can see that that's really happened right now for Louis. He's on a bit of a goose chase. He's up 10 vills still. So I would say that France is doing pretty decent to stay in the ballpark with the economy. But he needs to keep doing more damage. Once he breaks through this wall, this is going to be a great point. Now, we do see the Royal Institute also coming up. Big walls coming in from Louis, looking to further delay his enemy's progression across the map. Royal Institute comes through, and with that, you're going to see access to a whole bunch of unique French technologies, including the most important one. It's an Imperial Age upgrade, Royal Bloodlines. Increases the health of all cavalry by 35%. Now, the reason I'm pointing that out is because I actually saw a comment on YouTube. It was one of those confidently incorrect comments. It's like, actually, Drongo, you can't get Royal Bloodlines until Imperial Age. Well, my little friend, I don't remember what your name was, but if you're watching this, actually, you can also get it in the Castle Age here. Extra 35% coming through right now for Thebes. So he's going to be looking for that timing attack, but by the same token, Louis is in the prime position to defend it. And look at that villager kills coming out. This is beautiful by Thebes. Exactly what he needs to be doing here, but the mass is starting to build for him. He can deal with this. At the same time, he can always move off towards these units in the north and just wants to keep poking and prodding. We also see relics starting to get picked up. 2 relics already picked up by Louis. He's going to be going for a 3rd and a 4th one as well. Veterancy coming through on those Royal Knights. A lot of damage coming out. Villagers running for their life. They've got their wheelbarrow. They've also got their textiles, so they'll be able to hold on as they try and survive. But Louis, once again, getting cleaned up on this north side. Just wants to keep getting goose chased, or wants to avoid, rather, getting goose chased. But the counterattack going to be coming in. Hold the phone. Keep going to be under pressure. Lord Doubt smiling upon it today, it seems. And all of a sudden, Louis turning the attention towards the enemy base. And I love this play from him, because now he says, well, let's see if you can multitask. Can you attack and defend at the same time? Because my bet is you can't. And now Louis, he's in a great spot. The main issue that we're going to have here for Thebes is that there's not enough vills putting this keep up. If the keep comes up, he's fine. And honestly, he needs to pull all of these vills to make this keep right now. That's where you need to be. Royal Bloodlines does come through now for these Knights. He's found plenty of Knights over here, or plenty of vills over here. Keep is going to come up, but he's going to lose a lot of vills. We can see 22 vills, more vills going down over on the west side as well. So he's managed to even up the villager loss count right now. Actually overtaken him. In the blink of an eye, he's gone from 0 worker kills up to 29. I've got no clue where they all were. Oh my lord. No. Louis, don't do him like this. Look at all the places that Louis is under attack right now. Okay. How does he play? I think he just walks into it and maybe triggers a wall back home. Does he realize? Is he going to go for it? Louis, go for it. Don't sneak it, Louis. Come on. Don't be sneaky beaky. You're not a counter-terrorist right now. You're not going to the B bomb site. I know you. He gets out of there. I can't believe it, Louis. And look at the micro, or the multitasking coming out from Louis here. Just dealing with non-stop raids, non-stop attacks, and he manages to get out just a casual 50 villagers ahead. It's important to remember that he was only 10 villagers ahead not too long ago. Now he's 50 villagers ahead. Very, very quickly, this got out of hand for Thebes. But the Knights are coming through. He's looking to try and even up the numbers. At the same time, Spearman going to be looking to try and deal with them. What upgrades have we got on these bad boys? 222. Absolutely beautiful upgrades coming through from Louis. More counterattacks up towards the north, but look at this. At the same time, we've got the Spearman cleaning it up. Another counterattack on the south side. There's just units absolutely everywhere. This is a chaotic match. There is chaos everywhere. And finally, we see the farm transition coming through for Louis. It's 19 minutes into this game. It's a little bit late, that's for sure. But the fact that he's been on natural resources this entire time is just a credit to his utility, his flexibility across the map. And we see a keep getting thrown down. A very interesting position on this keep as well. But Villager's going to get found out. Thebis going to be under pressure. Tries to get a keep down on this gold mine, but it's just going to be a good game. He says, I can't get the keep up. I can't keep up with you. And I think from that game, you can just see the power that Louis got in his Chinese. Just so much flexibility, so much control that comes out, and beautiful APM. Fellas, I hope you've enjoyed this casted game. Wonderful game from Louis, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.